The injury news is running rampant as we got some more news today as Roschon Johnson's not going to be able to make it in week 6 due to his concussion issue. He had some extended time due to playing on Thursday night last week, but the added time is still not enough. He won't be able to play in week 6. Khalil Herbert's obviously going to be out as well. Now the team's going to be rolling out Foreman and Darrynton Evans this week as the 1-2 combo, as their healthy running backs, as they are going to compete against the Minnesota Vikings. An interesting matchup to say the least, but we're going to dig into the news, the facts, the data to see whether or not you need these guys in fantasy football. But what you need to do is click that subscribe button right now. Click it with your finger on your phone, tap it with your mouse, whatever you gotta do, because we're doing these deep dives on these lesser known players every day to help you out, to help you get those information, to help you set your lineups, to help you make those trades and everything else. Click that button. Stop missing out. Let's dig in here. Let's look at the information. Bears are listing Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson out for Sunday's game against the Vikings. Shefty tweeted that out just a few minutes ago. This is hot off the press, something we got to digest. And the two healthy running backs for the Bears are Foreman and Darrynton Evans. So that's who they're going to be rolling with against the Minnesota Vikings, which is expected to be a fun matchup here, considering the Vikings like to push the pace. And you can throw it on them a bit. And the Bears offense, we know what they're about. We've seen them, the controversy at quarterback and everything else. Going to be a fun one to pay attention to. Running back Darrynton Evans made his return this week after a stint with the Miami Dolphins practice squad. So they re-signed him because they needed that insurance policy. They're going to have to cash in this week. They're going to see what they're going to have to get out of Darrynton Evans, as he had a previous stint with the Bears before. We're going to look at both players today, see whether or not you need him. But Foreman has not been used much this season. He was a pickup in the offseason, spent last year with Carolina. Bigger running back, has seen some production throughout his NFL career. He's had a very extensive NFL career as he's been bouncing along a bunch of different teams. But still, this is going to be his opportunity to prove himself a bigger banger back with some good size-adjusted athleticism. Looking at his fantasy production over the course of his career, hasn't been the greatest, but he has been productive in stints there. You can say that at the least, especially back in 2020. Looking at his stats, though, he's been productive prior to that. In his rookie season, 327 yards, 2 touchdowns, had some injuries off and on throughout his career. He had a major Achilles injury that set him back before as well. Came back 566 yards with Tennessee, 914 yards with Carolina. This year with Chicago, Roschon Johnson has been keeping him at bay, but a long, lengthy career at that, especially dealing with the injuries he had to deal with, because he's very dependable. He can get the job done. He's got good size. He's got good athleticism. A good running back to have on your roster. Again, looking at the size-adjusted athleticism, this is from some years ago, though. It's different now, but we still see it on the field, especially last year. He does have a little bit of pop in his step, has good size. You can use him between the tackles, on the goal line. That's something we should be looking out for this week against the Vikings. But going to Darrynton Evans, he's been making his rounds in the NFL as well. 4.41 40-yard dash, decent draft capital. He just hasn't been able to tap into his upside and hasn't really gave us any production. 125 yards on his career in 3 seasons, and also been bouncing around the league. Looking at this backfield, hasn't been super productive. Khalil Herbert, 272 yards. Roschon Johnson, 122 yards. They've been used a little bit in the passing game. However, it's been up and down with this backfield. Herbert's been getting it done as he's very explosive, can really hammer it home. Foreman's only got 5 rushing attempts on the season. We don't know really what he's like in this offense, but he's been held at bay. Now we get to see him and Darrynton Evans get the job done, see what they can do against the Minnesota Vikings. Looking at this matchup, low scoring, says Vegas, with a 43 over-under. That could break, though. It could, because we could see this turn into more of a passing game, as the Vikings like to push the pace. But like I've said before, since Justin Jefferson is out, they might be a little bit slower because you're not running up to the line with a wide receiver who's going to be automatically open every play. So that's going to impact things. We could see a nasty game here, but again, the Bears might decide to throw it out. You're down 2 running backs. You're playing against a team that you can throw on. They allow a lot of deep balls. Everyone's throwing on the Vikings, so why not try it? Why not test it? Why not throw it a little bit more? Why not increase the pass attempts from 5 to 10% at least? Why not try that? Why not test it? We're going to see if they're going to do that. That's something we might see. But again, we're seeing some running back touches on some guys who are sitting there on waivers that you might be able to pick up right now. So you might want to pick up Foreman or maybe even Darrynton Evans right now just because you need touches. You're hurting. You need a running back to play with. One of these guys are going to be getting the touches. More than likely, Foreman. He's been on the team. He's the incumbent. He's going to get the opportunity. He's a bigger back. If they're going to be on the goal line, who do you think they're going to give it to? They're going to give it to Foreman. So you may want to take that gamble because you're hurting and you need to gamble on something. There's nothing really there on waivers. Everybody's stashed. There's no guys getting touches right now on the waiver wire for you to pick up. You're in a 14-team league, 16-team league. Nobody stashed these guys. You're picking one up, seeing what happens. You don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. You don't have to do this. These are not guarantees. These are players that you put in your lineup when you're hurting. Or in DFS as a free square and you load up the rest of your lineup with higher priced players. Nonetheless, these are huge gambles right now in week 6. The opportunity is there in this matchup if they can get to the goal line. I would rather have Foreman than Evans, but that's just the obvious case there. Since he is the incumbent, since you can use him on the goal line, you want the running back who's most likely to score that touchdown because I doubt it. They're just going to pound it with one guy, give him 20 carries, and next thing you know, you got a 100-yard rusher. That's not going to happen. So if they're splitting the workload anyway, you want the guys more likely to get the touchdown. That's probably going to be Foreman. That's who I'm going to be rolling with between the two. But if you're hurting, you're hurting. You got to do what you got to do. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Catch you on the next video.